What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. So, want to talk about something a little different in this particular video. I try to be a jack of all trades, so I want to talk about the weather because I know that I have some subscribers that live in Florida, and you are in the path of a storm that could potentially be catastrophic in damage, in particular flooding and storm surge in that sort of Bend area of Florida near Tallahassee, Cedar Key, I believe, and Apalachicola. I think that area may be struck very badly by this hurricane. I'll talk about that in a little bit in this video. But anyway, before I go forward, have you ever noticed that these I-named storms are so dangerous? You notice that? Like last year, I remember doing a video about Ian, about 11 months ago. I remember doing a similar video because I had subscribers that lived in Florida. And I think most of you guys came out okay. Then another I-named storm I can think of a couple years ago. Remember Irene? I think it was like 2018. Then, of course, back in 2004, I think there was Ivan that spawned so many tornadoes. Then here in Virginia, we had two hurricanes in the past 20 years that were very significant. In particular, Isabel. Matter of fact, September 18th of this year will be 20 years since we had to deal with that storm. And then in 2011, we had to deal with a storm named Irene. Right? So, this is the thing. As you can see, hurricane. I don't know if this is totally up to date. This is the last alert that I saw. This was the watches. And you can see Jacksonville up into, southwestern, extreme southwestern portions of Georgia. Tropical storm watches in effect. And middle part of Florida, down to the southern tip, or close to the southern tip of the peninsula, you have a tropical storm warning. This affects, of course, Orlando, Fort Myers, down into Naples. But the areas that are going to be struck the worst by this particular hurricane will be the area near where the Panhandle and the Big Bend meet. That's where you see the hurricane watch, and in particular the hurricane warning. The hurricane warning will be from Tampa up to Cedar Key, Tallahassee, and Apalachicola. Now, last time, if I'm not mistaken, when Hurricane Ian struck, I think, if memory serves me correctly, the watch area of that storm was closer to Tampa. But I think Tampa lucked out. I think the center of the storm struck a little bit further to the north. Even though at one point in time it was thinking that Tampa was going to get directly hit. But this time, they're predicting that the storm is going to hit in that Big Bend area with a little bowl. Well, how can I explain it? The area near Tallahassee where it's a bend, no hurricane has ever directly hit that area. And they were always fearful of a hurricane hitting that particular area because of the geography of that particular area. Kind of like how they were always fearful of a hurricane directly hitting New Orleans. Like I said, I'm not trying to put fear in anybody's heart or anything like that, because you never know how these storms are going to work out. Maybe it's not going to be as bad as people think it could potentially be. But it's possible with the geography of that area, from what I've read, that water, coupled with the direction of the winds, that water is going to be pushed on shore, and it could potentially cause catastrophic flooding in that particular area. Catastrophic flooding. I guess, with any hurricane, any landfalling hurricane, the main issues are going to be winds, obviously. Now, how strong these winds are is up for debate, but I do know this. they were saying that it could potentially make landfall as a Category 3 or even Category 4. And some people saying, well, how could a storm strengthen that much in 14 to 16 hours? At the time, Idalia was a hurricane, a Cat 1 with 80-mile-an-hour winds. They just did an update, and now it's up to a Cat 2 at 100 miles an hour. So that water is extremely warm. Extremely warm, like bathtub, putting your foot in the water. It's like fucking, trying to compare it to something. It's like cookies to Cookie Monster or some shit. Like the hurricanes is just eating this shit up. It's the water is so hot. I mean, the water's just been, globally. We're in a situation, whether you believe in climate change or not, the waters, especially around the Atlantic Ocean, Pacific Ocean, I guess every ocean, but the waters are historically warm, reaching temperatures they never reached before, 90, 91 degrees, and as a consequence, these storms are fueling up. And think about it. If it's already at a Cat 2, and it's not going to make landfall for another, 10, I'm guessing here, sometime tomorrow morning. Who knows? But I guess the main threats are going to be flooding, coastal flooding especially, beach erosion. Just trying to think of the different threats that hurricanes usually pose. And also, wind damage. And like I said, it depends on how strong the hurricane gets. And also, of course, with these landfalling hurricanes, they almost always produce tornadoes. Usually not strong, usually not long-lived, but you almost always see some tornadoes. But I think the primary threat is going to be flooding. And, in a situation right now in Florida where you have all of these premiums going up and insurers leaving the state, all these people uninsured, it could potentially be a complete mess down in Florida, complete mess. And this could potentially be Ron DeSantis's absolute nightmare. If this thing goes really far south, who would have thought this when he won that massive 18, 19-point landslide back in November, right? And it looked like he could challenge Donald Trump for the Republican presidential nomination. Who'd have thought that here we are, 9 months later, 10 months later? If this thing goes really south, Ron DeSantis, who's already completely bottoming out in the polls now, it's going to be over for him. It's going to be over. And as far as I'm concerned, fuck him. He's a racist piece of shit. And I don't say that term lightly, but he's a racist to me. His actions as governor have proven to me that, he has a certain agenda. So screw him. But I don't want the people of Florida to have to deal with his bullshit. But, it is what it is. But tell me what you guys think, man.